So let's talk about Nazis. But first, story time. As some of you may know, I relaunched this channel almost half a year ago in August after a multi year hiatus. But actually, this channel is roughly 6 years old. I started filming myself shaving in that bathroom right there. And felt the need to take a break, and now I'm back. But over this period, I can say that I've dropped some cringy takes, and there's more of that where that came from. I promise you. Uh, come for the charisma, stay for the cringy takes. So the specific takes that I want to talk about, they 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 accelerated as many things did during the Trump era, during Trump's rise to power, and they culminated in an event. You're probably thinking of it right now. Charlottesville. Ah, geez, poor Charlottesville. Honestly, like, first of all, can you imagine if people Google the name of your town and this is what you see? Just images of some events that happened. Yeah. So and this, yeah, the Dodge Challenger plowing into the audience here. Jesus Christ, what a mess that was. Now the thing is, I'm a big believer in free speech, and I still am. But my opinions on Charlottesville came to a head with my opinions on free speech in a way that I dropped a lot of bad takes. I recorded and published a video a couple days after the events of Charlottesville. But the I've learned things that I know now, and as when I get to that, as soon as I learn these things, I immediately thought of that video. It's down. It's private. I will eventually take a look at it. I've I've thought of an event that I want to celebrate by reacting to my own Charlottesville video, which is going to be cool. Oscar, let's see here. Yeah, I get that big tech is manipulating to Oscar. I get big tech is manipulating search results, but most people are going to Google. I mean, I don't know the percentage of people who use DuckDuckGo or Scroogle or whatever. But yeah, unfortunately, and we covered this a little last week, the big tech oligopoly controls the experience online to a far extent. Be that as it may, I want to first of all, even though in that video, and I still believe this, I believe I support the right of people to say things in public. You know, I'm as close to a free speech absolutist as you will find. Like, basically, clear and present danger is my main benchmark. So the whole conversation on inciting violence is very fascinating to me. I want to cover that soon, but the as long as there's my rule of thumb position is as long as there's no clear and present danger, you should be able to say whatever you want to say. Of course, if you're doing this on someone's property, they can kick you out and things like that. And you know, as far as Nazis go, and we will get to definitions at a point. I think definitions will help us a lot, but I'll get to that. As far as Nazis, I support their right to gather and chant "Jews will not replace us." You can even have your little table where you give pamphlets. raising questions about Auschwitz or whatever. But if someone if someone gets offended and attacks you, although that's bad, I'm not gonna cry for you, like I kind of did for the Charlottesville protesters. Yeah, so here's the difference between my mentality when I my mentality then and my mentality now. Two people that helped me greatly on this are Vosh and Destiny. Watching their streams, watching them talk to all sorts of different right wingers and reactionaries and things like that, gave me some key things. Before going into that, though, I will go to definitions. So there are two definitions that are relevant, that of a fascist and that of a Nazi. They're not the same thing. So for fascism, I base myself on, actually, you know what? Since I have my browser here, let's pull it up. Wiki Robert Paxton. So yeah, the definition that I use for fascism, uh, I actually got this when I read the Antifa handbook, which I haven't finished, but in there they give this definition here, which is 90% what I use when I talk about it. So fascism may be defined as a form of political behavior marked by obsessive preoccupation with community decline, humiliation, or victimhood, and by compensatory cults of unity, energy, and purity, in which a mass-based party of committed nationalist militants working in uneasy but effective collaboration with traditional elites, abandons democratic liberties and pursues with redemptive violence and with ethical and legal constraints, and without ethical or legal restraints, goals of internal cleansing and external expansion. I have not read that definition in a while, but the way I use it, because this is way wordy, I could barely read it. The way I use it is the way I summarize it. First of all, I drop the goal of external expansion. Like even the like, I can't think of any. I can't think of any actual fascist that has goals of external expansion. So I focus really on the internal cleansing, mainly things. Basically, if you're lamenting this long past forgotten era that has fallen, you've fallen from grace due to degeneracy, and you want to internally cleanse the degenerates to return to the past. That's kind of what I would consider a fascist in modern parlance. And a Nazi is basically the same definition plus blaming the Jews. So if you're fascist plus Jewish question equals Nazi. You can be an anti-Semite without being a Nazi. You can be a fascist without being a Nazi. But I haven't encountered anyone that I would consider Nazi that doesn't have both. So, oh wow, I already lost a viewer. Well, bye. I'm conversing with you, but whatever. Feel free to leave a comment below. You're always welcome back. There'll always be a seat at my table. So anyway, moving on. That's the definition that I'm going to use. And the thing that is the key thing that I didn't realize then that I know today, and this is really embarrassing. But as soon as it was pointed out, I kind of felt like a fool for not realizing this. Nazis lie. They Nazis lie. You'll never get a Nazi to actually. It's extremely difficult to get a Nazi to admit openly that like they want to, purge the Jews or whatever. So it's yeah, basically. Okay, this is where I was going. So you can't read the internal thoughts of people. You can't read people's minds. So the thing that you can go by, the thing that you can go by to inductly reason what's inside someone's heart and soul is consistent patterns of behavior. So let's say that I was a comedian, and I let's say that I was a comedian, and I like half my jokes are about how LGBT people are degenerate, and how black people are dumb, and they can't help but steal things and things like that. That listen, that in itself doesn't really make you a Nazi. It's a fascist. Sorry, it's but it's kind of a clue. Like I've met I won't go into details tonight, but I've met comedians that will consistently have a particular group as the butt of their joke, and it's really weird. It's really weird. So as soon as I realized that, I was like, oh fuck, yeah, that's true. The people at Charlottesville, even though I knew they were chanting "Jews will not replace us" and are unadmittedly Nazis, like in their behavior, because that's the thing. You can only, yes, consistent patterns of behavior is one thing, but sometimes there's a huge red flag that although it's not proof in itself, you can kind of not walk by that and pay attention and remember that for later. Like if, let's say, this same comedian would, it's typically like really straight and narrow corporate shit. And then one day they make this joke of, my friend tells me he once baked 6 million cookies. Seems a little high, don't you think? Uh, Again, that in itself doesn't make you anti-Semite, but that's kind of a glaring thing that you can't. I would understand how someone would not let that one slide. It's kind of a red flag. These long paragraphs in the chat are too long for me to read, but I really appreciate the discourse. I'll go over those later. Thank you very much. So yeah, moving on. The whole idea of the marketplace of ideas, sunlight being the best disinfectant, and all of those things, I still believe that. The thing is, though, although fascists, forget Nazis for now. Although fascists would they'll frequently use the veil of free speech to defend their right to be in the public space, which I stand by. I still believe that. The thing is, if they actually got into power, they would be the first ones to clamp down on everyone's rights, and it is a real bad strategy to treat someone with higher standards than they treat you. That opens the door to abuse. And yeah, like even though again, you can have your little anti-Semite march. You can have your chants and shit. But if someone, like, let's say I knew you personally, I'm assuming you have a good relationship with your mom. Let's say that I would constantly insult your mom, but in this personal way that's not like, oh, your mom's so fat. When she sits around the house, she really sits around the house. No, like something really pointed to you, to your mom. Um, if you, although that doesn't violate the non-aggression principle, if you punched me after the 12th time that I insulted your mom in this deep, cutting, vexing, personal way, it's kind of understandable. And that's kind of how I feel about anti-fascists. Even though, Jesus Christ, I they scare me as well. Like I think in the world that Antifa wants, and in the world that fascists want, um, I would undoubtedly fare better in the world that Antifa wants because I'm black, and you know, if I didn't move, they would likely like just get you know, kill me or beat me up or whatever if I didn't want to move. But having to walk on eggshells in this Antifa world like Chaz or Chop that we saw this summer, that that's not something I want either. I think a common position that I saw anyway during Charlottesville was the hoping that Antifa and the Nazis would just wipe each other out. I don't think many people would have cried over that. But yeah, let me just look at my notes here. Did I? So yeah, the core of what I'm trying to get to is during the basically I got duped by the Gamergators and like the Sargons, the no bullshits and that kind of thing. Like in the wake of feminist cringe, which got the you know the SJW takedown compilations. I develop this group identity with these people that made me more more empathetic to the cause of people who would later become pretty fashy, or at least on the fascism spectrum. And that led me to say some really shitty things about Charlottesville. Yeah, but there's one thing that I want to make sure I cover before ending this. Like I just said, fascism is a spectrum, just like gender, and if you if you like make edgy Hitler jokes every now and then, it doesn't necessarily, even if making edgy Hitler jokes is a consistent pattern of behavior on your part, that in itself doesn't necessarily make you a fascist. And the problem is, if as far as publicly accusing people of being fascists, I prefer to err on the side of caution because my position is, for every edgy libertarian gamer bro that you falsely accuse of being a fascist, you're making it a little bit easier for actual fascists to hide amongst the normies, and that is bad. I think that if you err on the side of caution, that will embolden them to the point where they'll eventually do something that's undeniable, like making jokes about 6 million cookies or whatever. So that's my position, and I remember a specific moment. I was taking a workshop, and I remember I had already seen a ContraPoints video on how to spot a fascist, which, by the way, I think she casts far too wide of a net in that video. I kind of resent it when people do that because of what I just said. It pisses me off when people make fascists' job easier, and by their job I mean just hiding their power levels among the rest of us. So anyway, after having seen that video, I was in this workshop, and one of the students there said something. I forget what she said. It doesn't really matter. But it was this. No, sorry. It was a guy who said this needlessly woke, super cringe thing. And that made me kind of like silently groan and roll my eyes or whatever. And I remember thinking, if a fascist had been sitting right next to me and at that moment just said something like, someone needs to chill out, am I right? That would have been a tiny little moment of bonding, which I would like fascists to get as little of as possible. So yeah, the if you want to punch a Nazi, please make sure that it's an actual Nazi, because even though what I read from Robert Paxton I got from the Antifa handbook, I'm pretty sure actual members of Antifa cast a much wider net than that, and that even making edgy even the edgy gamer libertarian type jokes that you see, let's say on Reddit, would be enough to make you a Nazi in their eyes, and that's wrong. But if they happen to be right about you and they punch you in the face, I'm not going to cry for you. So that's the gist of it. Thank you very much for watching. If you're still watching, please let me know your thoughts. Oscar Gonzalez, if you're still here, you can talk in the chat. If you want, you can come back and leave a comment below. Or anyone else, Captain D, I'll read your comments in a second. But please like and subscribe. I do these live streams every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, I would love to see you in one of these, and I'll see you soon.